Hi, preschool peeps. Welcome back.
Hello.
You're witnessing my giving up on my hair. That's what you're witnessing. Those people who are on YouTube can see that I went with like the Meghan Markle half up, half down because I just can't cope with my hairstyle.
I think it looks cute. You guys are witnessing the one day of the week I do my hair.
I just can't. All right. Anyway, so we're back. We didn't realize we'd be doing these episodes so long that our lack of hairstyle would become an issue, but here we are. And while we're here today, we wanted to talk about some things that we are hearing out in the world having to do with the tough decisions that people are going to have to make as states begin to lift restrictions. And I don't know about you, Alison, but I can't stand when they talk about heading back to normal because we're not heading back anywhere.
I wish people would realize that you shouldn't want to go back to that normal.
Also, we can't. The virus says no. I put this, Alison was reading something I posted on Facebook in response to somebody, and she liked that I put, the virus says no.
No.
The virus says no. We can't just open up businesses and schools and go back to the way it was. It's going to be very, very different. And because of that, families and workers are going to have to make some really, really hard decisions. I think that it's going to really, so much of this COVID-19 situation is about to come down to personal decision making. You know, the government for a while was like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And they are still doing that. They're very, very slowly reopening where we are. So at some point, they're not going to be the ones making the rules. Each individual is for themselves. Right. So excuse me. So I think we need to talk about that on this podcast, because in this social media connected world, before this COVID-19 situation, a lot of people were in this mindset where they put things on Facebook and wait for reactions, right? Yeah. You put a post on Facebook, you see how many likes you get. You put a post on Facebook or on Instagram, you put a picture and you see how many people like it, commented on whatever. And now we're about to make intensely personal decisions, and we have to retrain our minds, I think, to not care about the personal comments and about what anyone else thinks about my decisions.
Yeah, because we lived in a very judgy world, you know, pre-COVID and probably post-COVID. We live in a very judgy world where everybody was criticizing everybody's decisions, especially families. My God, families get criticized all the time. Did you do this? Did you not do this? Did you let them sleep in your bed? Did you breastfeed? Did you do stop. Like, whatever decision you make is what I'm sure you thought it out, and that's what you want to do for your family, and that's fine. Stop judging people.
And we have to stop wondering or worrying what everybody else thinks and just do what dig deep in your gut. I was talking to my son the other day about something, and I said to him, I can't make that decision for you. You got to dig deep. Dig deep in your gut and do what feels right to you. And I'm going to say to families who listen to this podcast and teachers who listen to this podcast, dig deep into your gut to decide what's right for you. We're all going to individually have to do that. So Alison and I started jotting down some of the decisions that we're going to have to do that for, that we're going to mention, and I'm sure there are going to be others. So when you think of others, do us a favor and go on the posts of this episode on social media, on our Facebook page, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, or comment by sending us your contact form through our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. On Facebook, it's How Preschool Teachers Do It Podcast is the page. Mm-hmm. So let us know some of the other decisions you're going to be facing. But here are some. The first one, of course, is for families. Am I sending my child back to school? Is going to be a major decision for people. And I've been reading people's posts just out of curiosity on social media. And I have to tell you, it's quite a number of people who are like, no way, I'm not sending my child back to be told to sit in a little boxed off area and to be told they can't move, they can't share, they can't for X number of hours. And then there were parents of older children commenting, Alison, this is the part that I thought, oh, I didn't even think about this. parents of children who are like middle school, high school, were commenting that there's no way they're sending their children back to have to wear a mask for 6 hours, that breathing in the carbon dioxide for 6 hours like that is unhealthy.
I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going to be, because employees are going to have to do that too. So you're going to be wearing, I didn't even think of that.
I didn't either till I read it. I was like, oh, dang. And I have thought about this. Right. I've thought about, as someone who does trainings and who does professional development live, I've thought about, oh my gosh, I can't talk for 2 hours with that mask on. I'll pass out. And I was thinking about that from a very personal point of view, that I find it hard to breathe in them a little bit. I get hot. I'll pass out from all that talking. Yeah. But it's true, having children in those masks for X number of hours, like, what is that going to be like for them? And so a lot of families were writing things about trying to find another way, trying to find different solutions, even, you know, forming groups where they figure out how to bring in somebody or something. They just are like, we got to figure out another way. And I know that there are families who have to go back to work. Yeah, I get that. And I am surprised, though, by how many are able to come up with things like, I spoke to my neighbor who's a grandparent who said she would take my children if need be. Like, people, some people are fortunate to be able to be resourceful like that. Yeah. And it's going to be a conscious decision for many people. Do I send my child back?
Right.
Right. My niece and nephew are in elementary school. And I know that my sister is already hedging bets, as are many of the other. I don't know what she'll ultimately decide, but I know she's hedging bets along with many other parents as to how this is going to go. What is it going to look like? And what are we going to do? And also, and I think it's not only they have to wear masks and they have to be restricted in their movements. It's also, what are they being exposed to and bringing home?
Oh my God, that's what concerns me, is what are we being exposed to and what are you bringing home? Because, I mean, everything I've seen is like, oh, great, yeah, we got the desks 6 feet apart. I'm like, yeah, but kids don't sit in a desk all day. They don't, okay? And even if you're forcing them, they're still, you have to use the bathroom, which in elementary school, like, grade level share bathrooms are, unless you, like, my coworker said, she goes, if we go back to work, she goes, I'm not using the staff bathroom all day. I will hold my pee all day.
I can't.
She's like, if I have to not drink, she goes, I am not, unless they can tell me that they are cleaning it after every single one, I'm not going. And I was like, okay, so yeah. Now think of this, the kids' bathroom, you know, like you can't keep them there all day. Like, you can't.
I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to do it. How are you keeping these little 3-year-olds in like a little box? Like, I don't understand.
At the same time, I know there are families who believe that they're better off going back to school. There are children in situations where they're better off going back to school.
That's true. Yes.
And there are families who also are of the mindset that they know they need to go back and interact with other people other than us. And, you know, on this podcast, we're talking about don't worry about what other people think. There should be no judgment. And there's no judgment. I know I speak for Alison too, in her little box. There's no judgment, but these are just gonna be the hard decisions, because no matter what decision you make, if you decide I'm gonna send my kids back, there's gonna be a group of people saying to you, are you crazy? And if you decide I'm not sending my kids back, there's gonna be a group of people saying to you, are you crazy?
Are you crazy?
So,
yeah.
Right, like, I don't,
so
there's
do
no
what's
good
best for you and
deep.
Your family and your child. You know your child best. Do what's best. And there's no saying you can, and you can always change your decision too. Like, if you decide, okay, let's send my kid back, and then after a week you're like, whoa, this gave me too much anxiety. You don't have to stick with any decision that you make either. Like, but
That's right.
Don't get all like caught up in like, oh, but if I don't, my neighbor is going to think this, or the teachers are going to think this, or like, no, do what's best for you and your kid. Think of that. And if what's best for you and your kid is to send them back, then send them back. That's okay. But if it's not, and you want to keep them home for that's okay too. Like, it's all okay. Stop worrying about what everybody's thinking.
And, you know, in some ways, the workplace decisions are even harder. I'm really hoping workplaces who have discovered people can work from home allow them to continue to do that if they so choose. Because I think it's a really tough thing if Your employer says, okay, furlough over, layoff over, you have to come back. Well, now you're not eligible for unemployment.
Right.
So that can be a very tough decision for people who are struggling, who have, let's say, people who are at high risk, should they get this virus, who they have to care for or see. Oh my gosh, the level of decision making for this whole thing is unreal. You know, I think about, you know, if I go out, let's say I go back to work, and now I'm potentially exposed to things. Who am I bringing that back to? Who's at risk because I'm doing that? My husband is an essential worker. He's talked to me about people who they're still working, so they don't qualify for unemployment. And, you know, he's talked to me about people who've had to make the very tough decision to just take their chances because they're caring for elderly parents or whatever it is they're doing. Oh my gosh, the decision making is unreal. So just, again, there's whatever you decide is whatever you feel is right. And we have to not let other people's talk about it influence us. I was looking on Facebook, Allison, where Alison and I are. They are working on reopening beaches in a limited capacity with lots of rules. So the posts on Facebook about this are like out of control, with people saying, thank God I'm going, and other people saying, are you out of your mind? I'm not going. And I'm mostly like, I'll wait here.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll just stay here. I'm good.
I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, I'm good right here.
Yeah.
But that's my decision, and that's okay. And
that's right.
That's fine. If you feel like you need to go to the beach, great, go. I mean, but for me, I'm staying here.
And that should be fine with the people who decide to go. Like, it's
right.
Not,
if you want to go to the beach and get some sun,
too.
Great. Because if that's going to help you and your mental health, go for it. Do it. Like, but don't judge me because I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm okay with staying here. Like, and that's, yeah. So I've seen those posts where everybody's just judging everybody for everything. Like, just do you. Like,
that's it. Do you. And I think if you find yourself, this is my advice, I guess, if you find yourself feeling the need to post your decisions on Facebook, don't.
Why are we posting all of our decisions on Facebook?
Because that's the world we live in. It's the social media world we live in.
I just don't understand. Like, I don't need to know. Like, you do what you think is best. You don't. That's maybe part of the problem, is that's the world we live in, is everybody needs to post it on there in order to get everybody else's opinion on it. It's like, no, just make your own decision. You know, like, make it with your family. You don't need the society on Facebook to tell you it's okay or not okay to do what you want to do.
Right.
You know?
You really don't. You don't.
Yeah.
So I guess our advice is dig deep, and my statement is this. You know, sometimes Alice and I work with teachers when they're in the classroom and they're doing things that they know are not developmentally appropriate, but they feel like they should, in air quotes. And it's things like recitation of the calendar and stuff. And they'll say to me, I know doing calendar isn't right, but I feel like I should. And I'll look at them and say, I give you permission not to do it. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I give you permission not to do it because it's not a good use of conversational time with the children. And I give them all the reasons why that sort of memorization doesn't have meaning to young children. And so I guess here's what I want to say on this episode of the podcast too. Alison and I, even more important than us giving permission, want you to give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to make your own decisions. Give yourself permission to listen to that inner voice, because it rarely steers you wrong for who you are, for your temperament, for your life, for your lifestyle. And if that inner voice says to you, go back to work, then you go. And if that inner voice says to you, send your children to school, then you send them. But if that inner voice says don't, then you don't. And really listen to it. Because I don't think that there's ever been a time in all my years, and I've got a few years on me, I don't think that there's ever been a time in all my years where I've had to listen to my gut more than the past 10 weeks.
Oh my God. This has been such a time for self-reflection, I feel like. It really kind of makes you realize, like, what inside of you is telling you to do whatever it is that you're doing. Like, for me, it's staying home. I feel safe at home, so I stay home. That's also me and my personality, you know, but when it comes to the bigger decisions of like, do I go back to work? Do I do this? Do I do that? That's where I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper and be like, should I do that? And whatever I decide, it's fine because I dug deep and it's all coming from within me, you know, and not letting other people force their opinions on me, you know?
I remember I always try to keep this in mind too. There was a point in my life where I was deciding like, do I stay in this job or do I want, you know, and my husband has always said to me, Cindy, when it's time, you will know. And whatever it is, he always says that about work, about, you know, making decisions, even about, you know, deciding to take some sort of class to whatever. And I'll say, do you think I should? Do you think I should? And he always has said to me, when it's time, you'll know. And he's right. When it was time, I knew.
Yeah.
I absolutely knew. I was firm in my decision. And I hope that you also can think, I will know. It will be in my heart and in my soul. And I have to follow that resolutely. And I hope that this episode helps people to do that.
Yeah.
Because the decisions, they're coming as things loosen up. I don't think school decisions are coming right away. Having seen the CDC, and I use the term loosely, guidelines, I just don't think decisions about school are coming immediately because the guidance, I mean, if anyone would like to see the guidance having to do with childcare, feel free to go to my Facebook page where I posted it. And then there was a wild conversation and comments afterwards of upset people.
Yeah.
It includes a lot of as feasible, which means do it or don't. And
basically means don't. Like, I feel like people are going to go, I'm just going to skip over that one.
It was the first column. It was like, can you keep at-risk children and adults safe? No one can. That's the point of this whole stay at home. So I think that it's going to take them a long time to figure out schools.
Yeah.
Did you see, Alison, I don't know if you saw it, in New York City, Mayor de Blasio put together a cohort of educators, and I have to give them a lot of credit. It's all educators in this group to make decisions.
Good.
Ask me how many people are in this decision-making group.
Oh God, how many?
45.
How could you come together and
45. The person who shared the information with me, I said, I'm trying to picture 45 people coming to one decision. Oh no, wait, maybe that's like my cultural thing that we can't do that. But
I applaud that it's all educators.
Me too. I applaud Mayor de Blasio. Applause. He picked educators. Cuomo did backpedal and put together a panel of educators to work
after
with.
Cindy wrote them.
Yeah, it was definitely my fault. But he did, you know, but they're bringing together these large group think tanks. They're going to think on it a while, I think, because there's really not a good solution. Well, the decisions are coming, folks. The decisions are coming. Yeah. So I think it's better now, before they arrive, to sit with yourself and just feel what you feel about it and make your decisions appropriately.
And don't feel that just because the governor or the superintendent or whoever says, oh, we're going back to school, don't let that make you think that you have to just because the governor says we're opening up schools and it's safe. No, you decide if you think it's safe for you. You know, correct. like they're going to do what they need to do. But if you ultimately are like, you know what, I still don't feel too great about it, let's wait a little while, that's okay too. And if you feel like, hey, no, they made the decision and it's safe, great. I'm going to send my kid to school because they're doing their best, you know, to safeguard it.
Right, whatever you decide.
You decide is fine. Yeah.
So speaking of decisions, Alison, before we end this episode, I want to remind everybody that in the episode that we did about who should be making decisions about education, we put out like this sort of challenge, and a few people have already started commenting on, I don't know if you saw on Facebook.
Saw a couple of them.
We got a couple of them, and I'll share more with you, but people are starting to write and comment. So here was the challenge. We started to say that, of course, we said that people who know education should be making educational decisions. And we started to do comparisons like, you know, I get haircuts. Maybe I should tell hairdressers how to set up their station for COVID. You know, I get haircuts. Maybe hairstylists need my advice about how to run now. Yeah. And so people have put other examples. They've sent them to us. And we said, and somebody who sends us really the best example that's like that.
Yeah.
Things like, you know, I've purchase shoes. Maybe I should tell the shoe manufacturer how to set up COVID. Stuff like that. If you send us a really good one, you might get swag from us in the future. I mean, it's slow shipping swag now, But hey,
seriously, but you'll get it eventually, and it'll be like
yeah,
Christmas.
someday. So we had a few good ones. Listen to that episode. Alison and I shared some on that episode, and we were laughing, and now other people have shared. So please listen to that. Subscribe, subscribe, and rate us, and be kind in the ratings. Because remember, we're home like you, stressed out like you, and so give us a 5, and share this podcast with other people. We hope to catch you next time, preschool peeps. Alison, you want to sign it off?
Stay safe and don't judge, and don't let other people judge your decisions. Do it. You can do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
That's a weird thing. Just do it.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.